Let's cross now, before we go, to London. Marina Litvinenko, the widow of murdered former Russian Secret Service agent Alexander Litvinenko, joins us. Thank you for speaking with us on France 24. What's your reaction to the measures announced by Theresa May?
I would say I was very grateful for what she said quite soon, almost just 1 week after it's all happened. Because in our case, we should wait this for more than 10 years before Theresa May released her statement. It means it's a very serious understanding what actually happened. And I believe it would be even very serious steps after that to prevent something similar might happen again in UK.
Before her announcement, were you among those who were critical of May? She was the Home Secretary when your husband was murdered.
You're absolutely right. And when Theresa May became Prime Minister, I believed she's a person who doesn't need more information about Mr. Putin, because all information and knowledge about this case was very important. I mean, case of death of my husband. But until now, UK and I believe other European countries try to save relationship between Russia and other countries. And I see how countries try very hard, but it doesn't look people from Russia really appreciate it. And everything what British government try to do, it looks just a softness and sometimes a weakness. And from other side, from this Russian government, they just decide if it's not be punished, they can do everything what they want.
Marina Litvinenko, some of the panelists wondering, is it not an order that came from the top in this instance, but perhaps rogue elements inside of Russia? Do you squarely blame Vladimir Putin for the poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter?
No, I can't like to be so soon, because everything what we did in our case, and I hope it's going to be similar to Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia. Only thing is different. I wish Sergei Skripal and his daughter will survive, and I wish them all the best. Because in case of my husband, everything has happened only after his death. But to blame Mr. Putin straight, it may be a little bit premature. But we know this nerve agent was produced in Russia, what Theresa May says. And it's very important to understand. She will not say this without any serious evidence. And if this product was produced in Russia, it would be right thing from Russian government to cooperate and to say why, how it was possible to use this agent in another country. But behavior, what I would call, and attitude, what we saw in Russia, particularly in news programs and comments from very high level of Russian government, I think it's just not appropriate. It doesn't look, these people in Russia understand how is it serious what happened in UK.
Dmitry Dikochko, should the Russian media and spokespeople like the foreign ministry spokesperson who had very strong words on television Tuesday, should they have adopted perhaps a different tone?
They are as strong as the one of Theresa May. It's an answer, that's all. But, you know, the question is, what would be the interest of Russia to assassinate or to try to assassinate a person like that in Britain? Why? Just before elections?
No.
What is the interest? I mean, what they will have? What advantage can they have for that?
Marina Litvinenko, your thoughts?
It's again, when we talk about death of my husband, and particularly for what reason was to kill Sasha, what was a certain timing, I just understand people in the West really can't understand why these people from Russia might do this. And it's every time some logical way to understand. There's not any logic. And when we try to connect what happened to Sergei Skripal and to presidential election, it might be some link, but it might be not, because it's not any logic. And when people commit such a crime, it might be order making some years ago, because Putin himself comment in 2010 after Sergei Skripal and other people been swapped with another 10 agents from United States. Even it was already, Sergei Skripal was pardoned. I mean, he spent some time in prison, he was pardoned, he was swapped. It means what else? But for Putin, he was a prime minister in this time, he said, no, these people never ever forgiven. These people betrayed own country. And they need to be, not directly he said killed, but it was obvious what he meant. It's only death. It's a sentence for these people. And when it's happened, it doesn't matter. Again, we are living here in the West. We have some rules, and we think we need to follow these rules. But unfortunately, people who committed such a crime from Russia, they don't follow the same rules.
We're going to have to leave it there, but I want to thank you, Marina Litvinenko, for joining us from London. I want to thank Sajjad Karim for being with us from Strasbourg.
It's my pleasure.
Dmitry Dekochko, Gordon Hahn in Riga, and Michelle Carlin in Edinburgh. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate.
Thank you.